It's Hamilton versus Ottawa, and we're just getting started here. The Ticats Audio Network on Tiger-Cats Pregame, presented by Greenworks. Greenworks Tools is kicking off your lawn care season with all the outdoor power you need. Tackle any chore like pros by visiting us at greenworkstools.com. Hey, one fella who's certainly seen the Hamilton Tiger-Cats from close range doing the not-so-good to the glory days is Mr. John Saluations, and he is going to present his pregame salutations for tonight's contest. Coach, always a pleasure to have you with us, and I got one right off the top for you, that during these bye weeks, that it sounds to me that a lot of the players, at least when they talked about it, when they came back this week, they go home, they clear their head from football. But I'm getting the feeling that the coaching staff here for the Tiger-Cats didn't do a lot of relaxing at home. What goes on for the coaches during the bye week?
Well, Bubba, it's good to be back with you, but at the same time, the coaches, it depends upon where you are in your schedule. It depends upon where you are in the win-loss record as to how much time you can take away from the field. And I think with an 0-3 record facing the divisional opponent, I think the coaches probably stayed in their office most of the time and tried to refresh and reorganize themselves to get a good output for this week.
We talk about that refresh. Does that mean to you, if you're talking about, let's talk about play calling first, I guess. Do you simplify things, or do you expand on your playbook to come up with new looks to try to create some confusion?
Well, here's what I'd go back to if it were up to me. I'd go back to what Matthew Schultz does well, and that is to move the pocket, use the run-pass option again, and spread that front by using your two backup offensive linemen, Black and Van Zyl, as tight ends. That spreads that offense right out and gives Butler a chance on the inside. And if you're doing a good job with the play action, they have to bite on Butler. Now you get Schultz on the outside where he can get that easy throw. And you saw Caleres last night do the same thing. Block the edge and get on the outside. And beyond that, I'd get the receivers involved in the run game. Where's the jet sweep that we used to run? Where are the things where you got a ghost in the backfield, meaning take a slot back and run them behind the quarterback, whether you use them or not? It makes the defense look at it in a different perspective.
Yeah, it sure does. And we both expected to see a lot more movement from Matthew Schultz last week. We started the game with a nice bootleg deep pass downfield and didn't see too many design runs at all or RPOs at all last week. And would that be a situation of, Bo Levi Mitchell's already hurt. We want to make sure we keep Matthew Schultz healthy because we have an inexperienced depth at that position?
No, I don't think so. I really think that you've got to let your quarterback do what he does best. When you look at it, we had 17 drives at the quarterback position, and we came up with only one TD. They're not finishing their drives on the offensive side. Now,
that was at the end of the Toronto game, too, when it was already...
already decided.
Yeah, already
basically.
decided.
I liken it to the analogy of golf. In golf, the saying is that you drive for show and you putt for dough. Well, to me, what that means in football is if you throw that deep ball downfield for a completion, that's a great show. But when it's second down and 3 or third down and 1, if you can't get that 2 yards or 1 yard, the show doesn't mean anything because you won't finish the drive and you won't get in the end zone with a TD.
Yeah, well said. Going back to the team refresh through the bye, I know a lot of people were probably watching the transaction list day after day, and not too many changes either on player personnel or coaching personnel. Were you expecting to see any in that department?
It's hard to evaluate that as an outsider because you don't know what's happening to each player. Who's dinged up and who's not, and who's real healthy and who's not real healthy. So as an outsider, you can't really determine those things. That has to go to the coaching staff inside and quietly done in the locker room. So, I expect that you're going to always see some change. until you get on a winning streak. And right now we're on a losing streak. 3-game loss in a row, that's a losing streak.
Well, there are a couple changes in the personnel. A few key names that are out would be Lawrence Woods III, Mohamed Diallo, and Tune Adeleke, all not in the lineup tonight. But we do get the return of Coulter Woodmansey, and we see the debut for Ticats of Jared Hewitt. Anything, is that an injury related, do you believe, or could those be some changes?
Well,
for,
you're talking
strategy.
about a player to replace an injured player. Diallo's out.
Yeah.
You got Hewitt in. Black was hurt in the last game, was taken out. Van Zyle's still on a comeback trail. So Woodmansey's coming off the injured list, go back into play. So those things play into it. But realistically, every week you're going to see some change. Adeleke at the secondary level was hurt last time we played, which was 2 weeks ago. So now he can't start in this game. So Katsantonis is going to have to be the man at the free safety position.
I think something worth chatting a few minutes about here is there's a couple designations on the roster, and I don't know if anybody completely understands them. They seem to change a little bit every year, but there's one called the designated American, and there's one called nationalized American. Okay?
Yeah. It's truly confusing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
We've got designated players on the field that can only play a certain number of plays. Mm-hmm. Now, who's telling who how many plays they have? It's my understanding that the official is there's 23 plays that National American can play.
Yes.
Okay. So the official is
in place of a national player, in place of a Canadian.
That's right. And so, to me, those are things that we don't need in the CFL. We actually need to have, you're either an import or a non-import, and we play on that level. And we have that kind of a ratio in the game. When you've got a spotter upstairs that has to tell the official downfield, number 33 is on his 15th play, and he's only got 23 to go. But, the official's got other things to do.
Right.
And supposedly do them a lot better if he doesn't have all of that baggage to carry.
My understanding, though, is that they'll tell the coaches that player is done their 23 plays substituting for a national player. They can still play in the game. They just have to still have the required amount of Canadians on that side of the ball that they started with. And I don't think there's any penalty involved in that as far as in the game, except for a fine to the team, a $25,000 fine for probably each play that player plays. So
I have a feeling that rule's been broken a number of times.
Yeah, well
I have a feeling.
I think the coaches have to be realistic in what they do and not break the rules as they're lined up. But realistically, I don't like it. I don't think it's a good move.
Well, I think the whole spirit of it is to improve the players that contribute into the community and help with grassroots football and all levels of community involvement. And so I do like the spirit of it, but we can get back into the game here.
Yeah.
We're getting too sidetracked.
Well, no, but it is a topic of conversation. I've been asked this question at least 10 times, and I'll be honest with you, I feel like I answer most questions that fans ask me, and I can't answer that question. So I'm actually glad you brought that up.
Yeah, well, it sparked me today because we've gotten a few different depth charts with different people in different spots, and they all have to do with that DA spot. So
I would suggest you bring on one of the officials, Mr. Foxcroft maybe,
sure,
and sit down with him and have him explain it completely so the fans understand it. Because I don't totally understand it.
Well, I think he may be learning new rules very soon, so that's another story, though. Coach, let me throw this to you. We talked a lot of offense, defense. A lot of topic of conversation in the press room, at least, has been the Tiger-Cats issue on second down. What can they do, especially in these second and long situations that seem teams are converting all the time. We go back, and I went and looked at the percentages. Winnipeg Blue Bombers, 57% of the time converted second down. The Toronto Argonauts, 47%, and 45% in the last game against the Alouettes. And to me, again, you've played coach defenses. That seems too high to me.
Well, second down conversions are a key to winning teams. The winning teams this year are averaging 52.9 converts on second down. The losing teams are 39.6.
Oh my!
So your point is well taken. You know, if you can't make second down, if you're 2nd and 3 and you can't run the ball and get that first down, you're off the field. Now, defensively, on the other side of the ball, when we look at what's happened, we've given up 8 passes over 30-plus yards in 3 ball games. That's way too much to give an opposing football team. And we talk about playing complementary football. The Cats are 0-3 and have been outscored in the first halves of the games 72-19. The defense has allowed a league-high 13 TDs, and special teams have been penalized 12 times. That's not complementary football. That's just the opposite of it. And that is where we are as a record, 0-3.
Well, you asked, why aren't we seeing some of the jet sweeps? Why aren't we seeing some more bootlegs? Well, if the defense is giving up first downs and chunk yardage, the offense isn't getting as many attempts. If the offense can't convert on second down, they can't get into a rhythm and open up their playbook and set up a play from a previous play. They can't have, something that's just slightly different, look like the same thing, and then throw in a little wrinkle and have it be successful. So complementary football is a real bona fide thing, and that's been a big problem for the Cats so far this year.
You're absolutely right, Andy. And, you go back and you look at it, it's a 2nd down and 3 situation. If you don't feel comfortable running the ball to get that, even if you only get 2, you now have 3rd and 1. You ought to be able to pick up that 3rd and 1. But if it's 2nd down and 3 and you throw 40 yards downfield for an incompletion, what do you got to do next? You got to punt the ball. And so you've actually put your defense in a bad position.
It seems like they're gassed. Like, it does seem like, again, I don't know what the time of possession has been exactly for the Tiger-Cats. I have a ballpark idea. But it does seem like that we're in situations where Mark Washington ends up sending 0 blitzes and stuff like that. And we're not getting to the quarterback, and these receivers seemingly are wide open. And I just wonder, there's got to be some type of correction for that they can execute more. But it just does seem like they're gassed.
Well, you go back to the idea that Ottawa leads the CFL in sacks with 12. Okay, so if you look at the statistics, no team after a sack has been able to score a TD this year. They're 0 and 70.
Wow.
So a sack is important. And so if you want to get that offense off the field, to me, you put pressure on the quarterback, and that brings us to Mazzoli. How do you play Jeremiah Masoli? This guy is a veteran player that has the ability to read defenses. But I'll go back to this. Game speed is different than practice speed. This man has not played for a year. I would come out with all kinds of pressure and see if he can handle the quick throws and move the ball that way. I would not sit back and let Jeremiah throw the ball downfield. And Andy knows this very well. We go back to Edmonton several years ago, where Zach Collaros got hurt in the ball game.
Actually, yeah.
What year was it?
16.
In 16, and Jeremiah Masoli came in the game and went 23 straight completions for a league record at that time.
On the road
in Edmonton to bring the team back to a 38-34 win. So that's the kind of a player you're up against.
Yeah, you let somebody get on a roll, and that way the playbook opens up even more, and then you continue to have success in many different ways. And we don't want to keep looking in the past. Let's look forward here. We got a great opportunity in front of us. And
by the way, Andy was really good in that game.
I think everybody had a pretty good game. That was a lot of fun. I distinctly remember the game and the post game. We flew back right after, but the owners were with us, and it was a good time. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, we do have a lot of bright spots. I mean, we've had when James Butler has had a chance, I thought he's delivered on his opportunities. You have Duke Williams coming off of back-to-back 100-yard games. Tim White is sort of still just on the verge of breaking out. And Matthew Schultz did throw for a lot of yards last game. And if we can build on that, and like you said, not just the drive for show, but putt for dough and finish in the end zone, this has got an explosive offense here.
Yeah, he threw for 345 yards. But between the 20s, when they get in the red zone, they shut down. And that's where you've got to have that run game. If you don't run the ball early in a ball game, you will have a difficult time running it when you have to run it to get into the end zone.
Well, Coach, you're going to like my CarStar keys to victory, as you usually do. We seem to often be on the same page.
Folks, he is Coach Sal with his pregame salutations. John Salavanis, appreciate your time and insight as always. It's top notch.
Hey, thank you, Bubba and Andy. It's good to be with you.